Welcome back into the workshop for a riveting, confusing Dave's Diary update or question time. Question time, my sanity at times, I think. The question I've got at the moment, oh yes, and look at that, my MFT top, I'm now referring to it in the present format or present tense, and I've got it assembled. Oh, you can't believe how much relief there was when I did finally get it sorted. It hasn't been used for the tracks or yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there, bit by bit. What I wanted to do first was, while I had it assembled, was to have a look at how I'm going to make use of it as a jig for my frames that I want to make up. On occasion, I want to make these up. And it gets a bit of a nuisance. Well, you simply can't do it well and properly or fast or efficiently without a jig. And this is the jig here for it. It's got a dimension of 500. Oh, that works out good for a MFT top, sort of. And 430. Okay, well that measurement is a little bit more demanding. That's what we're looking at here. I had some idea of if I can make the components up that will permit me to use the MFT top for all different sorts of things, then that's going to be much more efficient than having to have separate jigs. That's the one. There's another one. It's a smaller version of it. It would be much more convenient just to use the MFT top and it be able to do both of those functions of those jigs and other things. I've had to start now thinking that, like that 430 measurement requires blocks to be able to be positioned on the top and needs to be customizable. I've already had a couple of ideas and alternative ideas. But this is one of them where, in fact, I'm going to put you down for a moment. You'll see me struggling to get them apart, well, a little bit, but that's one. All right, just push it down. It's a nice firm fit, isn't it? So that's a real positive. But imagine now that these are some of the items or the components that will make up the jig. This was cut out of a single piece of timber. I drilled the holes and then cut it in half, or generally in half, so that the holes to the side line up quite nicely. In fact, perfectly, luckily. Now, one of the issues that came about straight away was, and I've kind of showing it here, the frame that I'm going to make has to be elevated up off the top of the MFT surface. I can't have this sitting on the surface itself because that elevation permits my drill to come in here and drill the holes as is required for assembly. I'll drill the holes and then put the screws in. So it needs that elevation. That's a bit of a nuisance. So I can elevate it on a block of 18 mil. I can just pop them in. They can just be thrown in every time I want to use this. They're just scraps because all the melamine is the same thickness. It has a bit of an advantage in that the pressure and the elevation can be limited to a certain area, whereas a full surface, like these other jigs, can sometimes pick up any indiscretions in my machining or straightness of the timber, and it causes issues. So while it's a bit of a nuisance, it's actually a bit of a plus to be able to have the MFT top act as my jig. Having that elevation, I thought, how the heck do I do that? Because as you go higher, it becomes less stable and you have to make it wider. Like these are just 35 by 35, there or thereabouts, and it's okay, and it's been well screwed down, not just nailed, but it's been screwed down, so it's held together very well. This, however, I was thinking, these aren't long enough. These are the no wiggle pins. I could put that in there, and I could put that in there. That would help no end, but I still really can't do anything with that next layer. Oh yes, I could. I've already got a way of doing that, and I can accommodate that by not having this drilled out to 20 millimeters, but to 8 millimeters. It goes in there, and I can basically bolt it together. I could do, or let's just get this apart again, or could I use conduit? And the gut reaction was, well, probably, but it does actually flex a tiny little bit. If I put it in there, it's not rigid. You're going, mate, this is 300 millimeters long or longer. Of course it's flexing. Let's do this. Let's have a little bit of a trial run. This is all done by one hand, and it shows you how easy it kind of is. I set that across my two pieces here. This is not a requirement. I'm just showing what I'm doing. So I've popped it down 18 millimeters. I can then pop that into place. Does that move? This is just one bit of... No, it doesn't at all. The width of the plate means that it's stable this way and this way. It isn't moving that way, isn't moving that way, and I'm happy. Now, what say I want to... Let's just do that again. I'll show you what I'm doing. There is nothing being hidden. I do that. It sticks out the 18 millimeters. I put that in there, and I register it all together. So 3 layers have been registered, beautifully and smooth there. You can't really tell even the transition. Put another PVC pipe in there. That ain't going nowhere, Sonny Jim. So I've achieved something that I was actually a bit concerned about. So, yippee. The issue is that I've got these round measurements of 500, but I've also got these non-round, the 50 mil increments or 25 mil increments or 100 mil increments. I've got 430 as a requirement. So I have to work out a way to custom make one of these layers, and just bear with me for a moment. Just something was over back behind me, was just about to tip over, so I had to move that. Now, can you recall seeing people show how they straighten curved pieces of timber using a bench saw? And it's where they make up a jig, they fit the curved bit of timber to the jig, and then they let the jig run up against the rip fence, and as they run the whole assembly through, it straightens the curved piece of timber. They basically say, oh, so you don't need a jointer to straighten your timber. Correct, you don't have to, but really you should. Anyway, could I do something like this, where I take a blank and oversized piece of timber like, melamine like this, with the holes already in it, and just say a jig like that can sit, imagine these now being, individually sat on here and pinned to it. This runs up against the rip fence, and the overhang, depending what the cut is required, I can measure accurately, because I know, this is where it gets a wee bit woolly in the explanation, but my edge to the hole is a known measurement. Always be that dimension. And let's just say it's 50 mil, just for round figures. But it could be 60, 70, 80 mils out here. when I register it on here, I can measure off from the rip fence, which would be on this side, or the other side, to the blade, pop them on, run them through. I get my custom sized fit easily. Let's just say I'm 1 mil out. Oh, under and over, doesn't matter. I can, well, I'll throw it out and do it again, but under, I can, if it's over, too big, I can just adjust my fence ever so slightly, run it through again and knock it down. If it's undersized and I really need to make use of it, I can add a little bit of tape, edging tape to it, which is about 1 millimetre, there or thereabouts, or some such, or more likely throw it out and start again, as I said. So you can actually cut it a little bit big and sneak up on it with adjustment of your ripsaw fence. I think that's what I'm going to be doing, because that's exactly what I need for this setup here to be used here. Now, one of the things I can also consider is making the base layer, instead of having a loose piece of melamine sitting like that, for this to sit in place, because I need to elevate this, and that looks fine as it is, I can make one of the base layer of these blocks support it. That has a little bit of convenience built in, so it only has to come across, a little bit, so I can leave it extra wide. It sits on the wider piece, and it's only the top layer that I need to worry about getting exactly to dimension. Simple, it just simplifies everything. Equally, this top layer might be a bit of, like over there, a bit of 25mm thick, giving me a wee bit more catch or purchase in this area, which may or may not be important. After all, this one has worked, this jig, and it has got a thin layer, thin, the batten itself, the rail here, is quite thin. So do I need a full thickness support for this area here? I don't know. Shall I try it? Yes, I will. Which way will I go? No idea. But being able to easily customize the critical dimension here is going to be important. Otherwise, it's going to be a pain in the posterior for future use. What will have to occur, though, I either accommodate, I'll just outline it, I'll either have to accommodate this next issue in the pad here, or in the underlying MFT part of the top, which is more than likely what's going to have to happen. I need to be able to drill the holes at 50mm centres or about to make it work easily for when I go from one size to another. It's just the practicality of it. And now that I've worked out a way, well, not a way, it's pretty darn simple, to elevate this to allow my drill to get in. It doesn't mean that I have to cut the main base down, which is what I was starting to think I'd have to do, and I wasn't happy about that. Now that it's elevated, it can come in like that. So I can make this one. This one happens to be, I think, 700, is it? Yeah, about 700 by 700. To make up a base for that, I could make it 600 by 600, and that would then do both of the jigs that I've got. But really, if I left it like this, this would then be able to accommodate other sizes for things that are not this particular type of frame. And because we've got the accuracy of an MFT top, oh, yippee, I can then make the use of these panels or any combination of them. So, and that's what the people like MFT tops for. Seems to make sense to me. So yeah, very happy about that. Yeah, so it's, again, for those that have done it and have got them and they've going, well, that's why you make them, you muppet, these MFT tops and what have you. And I go, well, yeah, no, thanks for letting me come to that conclusion myself. But as I said, I'm fresh to this. I've used an MFT top style before. It didn't have this flexibility because it didn't have the work put into it to make it accurate and flexible. In the background there, that bit of plywood, nor the rest of them, that bit of plywood has been set up and was working quite well, but it didn't have the finesse that this has now got, and that's largely because of those steel rails, and it's, yeah, big step forward. So there you go. That's my thinking on this at the moment. I'm happy for that. Still have to get my workshop back to functionality again, because it isn't at the moment, I can tell you. It's not very functional at all. It's a right real pain in the neck. But this is why I want to get some of these things done, so that as I'm cutting stuff up, I can do these as well. You know, so I'm doing basically one process for the different jobs. So there you go. Right, that's it. I'll go away. I've got another video I'm going to make straight away after this, but it is literally a separate video, but utilising the MFT top, surprisingly. Rightio, that's it. Waffled enough on this subject. I'll get back to you in the next one. Okay, bye now.